Senator Moreno for questions. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for doing this hearing. I thought maybe, Mr. O'Brien, I'd start with you. There's some conversation about tariffs, not that this is a hearing about tariffs, but let's hit that real quick. You care, I think when I look in your eyes and I've met with you, you actually care deeply about making certain that we have a growing, thriving middle class in this country. I mean, that's not an act. That's something that you believe in your heart and soul.
Yeah, I think someone referred to me as a, hold on, I gotta put it down, as a self-promoting union boss in one of their articles, but I'm not a self-promoting union boss. I'm a truck driver from a middle-class family that appreciates and embraces the preservation of the middle class.
Right. So when we think about tariffs, we can go out and find the cheapest labor on earth, slave wages in China, massively subsidized industries, and there's this mentality that somehow tariffs are bad for America, when in reality, wouldn't you say that it's good to have trade barriers to put American workers on a level playing field with workers around the world?
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret what our position is as a union on tariffs, and I know there's a concern with when these tariffs are implemented, if they're implemented and when they're implemented, what effect is that going to have on the consumer? Now, we have to go back in history a little bit. Remember when we had plenty of industry in this country where we were producing goods and services, where we were manufacturing steel, we were doing a lot of this work, and then these bad trade deals that happened in 1993 with NAFTA and everything else had an impact on jobs, and they went away, and our jobs and everything went overseas, and that level playing field was completely uneven to the American worker. Now, fast forward, where we want to repeal a lot of these trade deals, we want to impose these tariffs unilaterally, I believe, to what we're paying and what they should be paying. There's a concern that we're going to diminish jobs, and where's all this cost going to go? Now, we got to take a look. There's a lot of factors here. We got to take a look at excessive compensation with a lot of these CEOs and these corporations and their willingness to reward Wall Street instead of the people that work in these jobs. So we can have that debate as well on, hey, you know what, if these tariffs come in, take a little less in your own pocket, stop giving more to Wall Street, and just reward your workers and don't pass this cost on the consumers. The fear of the unknown is always the worst.
Ultimately, it's important, I think I'm hearing you say, which I agree with 100%, I just hope my colleagues listen to this, is that we want to have these jobs in America. That's very important because these are good working class jobs that allow a mom or a dad to be able to provide a living for their family, retired, debt-free. That's really important. So totally with you on that one. Let's dig a little deeper into this English requirement. And I wasn't born in this country. My mom made me learn English pretty quickly. And I don't think there's a lot of legal immigrants that think differently than I do. They believe that we should assimilate, learn English, learn the language. But what are the implications for you and your members when during the Biden years, you had 10 million people coming to this country illegally, a lot of them under the guise of independent contractors started becoming truck drivers. You had a giant spike that happened. These are people that spoke no English, had no idea of our traffic laws, and yet they were unleashed on our roads. What was it like for your members to be able to drive on the roads with people that, again, had no idea what they were doing, no idea about our safety requirements?
Well, I think it's extremely frightening, to be honest with you. You had a lot of trucking companies that were actively recruiting in foreign countries to bring people over here on those work visas, whatever they're called, and train them and put them on the roads where they're not from this country, they don't know this language. So our members are very passionate. By the way, our membership of 1.3 million is well representative from first-generation immigrants who came over here the right way, who learned the language, learned the laws, obtained their CDLs properly, and went to work and everything else. But it was frightening times, and it still is. I mean, we heard a comment today about Mexican truck drivers coming over these borders and doing the cabotage. We are 100% in agreement. That shouldn't be happening. Matter of fact, we'd rather have Mexican drivers drop their trailers at the borders and let American companies pick them up and do the deliveries.
Yeah, I mean, so clearly that's something that should be in legislation. I'll switch over to you, Mr. Spear, real quickly. There's this conversation about, what's a threat to the trucking industry. I think we need to, maybe if you could briefly describe what it meant to the trucking industry to have the Congressional Review Act that eliminated the advanced car truck rule and what that meant. Because we forget that was a mere 6 or 7 weeks ago. What would that have meant to the industry if we had gone through down the cliff of electrification on semis?
You would have witnessed consolidation in our industry that has never happened since 1980 during deregulation. I mean, the medium and small companies, 68% of our members are less than 100 trucks, 35% are less than 25 trucks. Those companies would be gone, because they can't have access to that kind of equipment because there's not enough of it under those rules. And it would be 3.5 times more than what they pay for a brand new diesel today, which, by the way, emits 98.5% less than what it did in 1988. So 60 trucks today emit what one truck emitted in 1988. That's how far we've come. We didn't need, the United States of California telling our industry operating in 50 states how to work with the EPA to get clean air and water. We're already doing that. So revoking these through the CRA, you just took off one of the biggest threats to our industry in a matter of 8 months. And it's now allowing us to do a whole host of other constructive things, such as the safety title. So I thank you for that vote.
No, it's great. And let's talk about, so Mr. Pugh or Mr. Spear, if you want to answer, what does the one big beautiful bill and bonus depreciation mean to your industry? The ability to make an investment and have that be able to be depreciated. Is that positive or negative for you?
Yeah, well, we appreciate the big, beautiful bill and understand that what we need to see happen now, though.
I'm talking about just the bonus depreciation, the ability to write off your equipment. Is that a net positive or net negative?
That's definitely a net positive bill, right off equipment for sure.
Right. So I just want to just recap real quick to my Democrat colleagues: wrong on tariffs, wrong on immigration, wrong on EVs, and wrong on voting against the one big beautiful bill. And if my colleague, would you mind one more question? You would mind? Okay. Always ask permission for my great colleague here from Nebraska. So one last question, Mr. Spear. What's the average age of the semi in America on the road, more or less?
Yeah, we assessed that a couple years back, particularly in California, but nationally, 53% of the commercial vehicles operating in the country are 2010 or older.
And what level of autonomy do those have?
I'm sorry?
What level autonomy do they have?
Well, it's...
That would be level 0. These things have no safety technology. They're much worse emitters of, and what's keeping people from buying new cars? I'm going to answer my own question. This federal excise tax.
Absolutely.
12%. So if we can massively reduce the federal excise tax and allow people to open the door to buying new semis, talk real briefly, because I'm worrying on the patience of my colleague on taking over.
She's still nodding, so I think we're safe. But Senator Cantwell alluded to this in her opening statement, too. The added costs from the FET, the federal excise tax, by the way, this dates back to the Titanic sinking. This was put in place by Congress, coupled with a number of other provisions that no longer exist. Ours do. It's a 12% tax on trucks and trailers. And it's about $35,000 for both total, each purchase. So, if you've got somebody out there that's buying, say, 1,800 new tractors, for a third of their fleet that they turn over every year, that's $65 million. That's real money. So that's going to the federal government, not to them. So we would argue for repealing this. It was put in place to fund trench warfare in World War I. It's outdated. We can take that money. It's our money, not the government's. We can invest it in training, pay, equipment. Get that brand new equipment out there and replace the old stuff. You'll reduce emissions by 83% just by putting new diesels out on the road.
Great. Thank you.